what are your strengths and your weaknesses?
I'd say I have I'd say I have a really good guard. So like people trying to pass my guard, I think it's really like dynamic. I have my guard retention is really solid. So people have a really hard time passing, and the flip side of that is I think my weakness is my leg lock defense, because historically that's honestly I've only been caught with an upper body submission like once in the last like couple years. I think like every time I've lost, it's been to a leg lock, which is kind of funny because I've gotten a lot of leg locks as well in the last couple years. So it's kind of weird. And I think it's what you guys were talking about, like the training room I'm in, I do get to attack legs a lot, but I don't ever have too much of a threat of like re-attacks too much, you know? Like, I mean, occasionally I'll get to roll Josh, and Josh has pretty good leg attacks, but it's not like, you know, I don't have like super high level leg lockers that I was going against at PGF. Exactly. Like those guys are like, like top level leg lockers.
I could kind of tell, like sometimes you're like, damn, you know, I could tell that was a little different for you for sure. Because a couple times, man, you snatched a heel up and I thought you had it. And, you know, these guys just, you know, they worked through the process and they got out, and had to be a little frustrating, I'm sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, even Josh has said that, you know, it's even a battle just not to be submitted by you. And that's coming from another black belt who's been doing this for years, who I would say you would be like the protege of the gym. So coming from like a high level grappler in Pueblo in Colorado from him, I mean, that says something. That kind of says like you have surpassed people in Colorado, and now you're moving on to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, he's brought me up from when I started. So, I mean, besides that like year or two of MMA or whatever, but, you know, he's pretty much brought me up from when I started in Jiu-Jitsu. And he definitely gave me the platform to become what I am today. So super grateful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Josh is a great dude, you know. And, you know, I always thank the gym for a lot of things, you know. It helped me through a lot of things. It's helped Joseph, you know. He went from, you know, a little chubby, lazy kid to, you know, he's trying to hit that. He's trying to follow your path. You know, he wants to be a high level athlete. He has aspirations of, you know, maybe coaching at the gym one day, you know, competing at jiu-jitsu at a high level, wrestling at a high level, you know, but none of that would be possible without you guys. You know, you guys really made a huge impact on our lives. And I think, you know, like I said, we tuned in every week to watch you, you know, no matter what Joseph was doing, you know, even ditched a couple practices to be like, hey, well, let's see how Juan does, you know? So that was really cool. And I think it was super motivating for him too.
That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool to hear. I like to hear little Josephine reaching for those higher aspirations, and also watching, you can call it film because you're watching someone else, you know, compete at this level. And now you're kind of like thinking in your head, like, oh, okay, this is something I should pursue, or this is something I need to work on. So a lot plays into that, but it's always cool to see. You know, I've known Joe for, I don't know, I've known you, Tommy, for, I was thinking like 7 years.
Probably,
like, it was crazy.
Yeah, it has been a while now.
And then to see Joe from like that little chubby Joe to now, I'm like, God damn, like, has it really been that long? Time flies. It's wild, you know?
Yeah, seeing him now in like super good shape. He's a hard worker. It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely, you know, and you know, just kind of touch on it real quick. So for the first time ever, I've never had to deal with this, but I want to say it was Thursday morning. You know, I got a call from a recruit.
He had his period.
But just based on like Joseph's academic, you know, they're, you know, a pretty good university was reaching out, kind of just inquiring about, you know, what his goals are and things like that. And then later on that night, they reached out to him personally, and that was real motivating for him too. You know, he goes, man, like, it is possible. Like, you know, I am doing the right things, and, you know, it's cool to see. You know, it's cool to see, and I feel super lucky that, you know, when we got involved in all this, I have a friend in Springs, actually. He goes, yeah, you know, there's a couple of gyms in Pueblo. He goes, but if you guys are serious and you want to actually like compete and be good, he's like, you got to train with Josh. He's like, and he didn't even know Josh that well. They just did some MMA back in the day together. But he told me, he goes, he's legit. So sure enough, you know, we go to Jackson's, we join, and, you know, the rest is history, you know. So that was super cool.
Yeah, even though Josh is a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner. Like, he knows how to fight. He's been in some MMA fights.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, he knows, like, how to go from standing to grappling, you know, and that's something I see jiu-jitsu now as more like a sport competitive kind of level, and it's geared away from, you know, traditional, like, just closing the gap and starting from standing to going on the ground, which isn't bad. I personally, I mean, because I do it for different reasons. I would want to know how to defend myself in a situation if it ever came down to it, you know, cross your fingers. I don't necessarily want to do it to compete, but if there's ever a situation where I'm in that I feel threatened and I'm like, okay, I got to kind of engage in a healthy but also violent way, I would want to know how to do it standing. And then if it came down to, you know, submissions or going to the ground, you feel confident doing that as well. So with that being said, I know you like the sport aspect of it, but do you value like the traditional aspect of it as well?
Definitely. I mean, you have to pay respect where it's due, where the guys who brought the sport up to what it is. And in terms of like the self-defense aspect of it, like you said, I definitely feel like I'd be okay if someone, you know, tried to step up to me and, I don't know, rob me or something stupid, you know.
You
like
definitely would be.
I'd be all right, you know, just going against untrained people is like playing with a little kid, you know, like it's
Very,
not.
very true.
Yeah,
So,
but you've also been training since they started like doing that traditional level to now that sport level. Do you guys ever want to incorporate more of the traditional level where it's like, okay, we're standing, you close the distance, you shoot in when, you know, there's space available, and then if you take it to the ground, this is what you do, instead of like strictly training at that sport competitive level aspect per se?
So I would like to hop in on that real quick, because for the blue belt test, it was a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know, it was a lot of, you know, hey, if somebody grabs you, this is what you do. This is how you close the gap. If need be, you know, throw an elbow strike, or, you know, I think Josh does a real good job of emphasizing like, hey, man, don't be pulling guard in the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not trying to like do jiu-jitsu at, you know, the Safeway parking lot if you're getting mugged. You know, you're either going to implement a top game or you're going to get the fuck out of there. You know, you're going to, you know, create the space to leave.
Yeah.
You know, so I think, like I said, as far as the blue belt test and things like that, I think that's where you learn a lot of that. You know, the things that are practical.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, and I think even though if let's say we are training sports stuff, even though we're training sports stuff, like who's really stupid enough to sit guard in a street fight? Like people always make that argument, like they watch a jiu-jitsu match, they'll see someone sit guard, they're like, oh, that won't work in a street fight, buddy. And I'm like, bro, nobody's stupid enough to do that in a street fight.
Yeah.
They're going to double leg you. They're going to get him out, and they're going to hold your wrist to the mat like you're a little kid.
Yeah.
And laugh at you.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like sport jiu-jitsu doesn't make you prepared for defending yourself, because you're learning how to control people regardless. You know, you learn about, this is kind of cliche and funny because like people who don't know what they're talking about usually talk about leverage and stuff like that, but like you learn about leverage and things like that. So like doing sport is going to prepare you for self-defense also. You don't have to learn like specific self-defense things that like some other martial arts might teach you that are kind of weird. I don't want to, I honestly don't care. I'll dog on other martial arts. Like karate, they're like, we're going to do this like 8 attacker kata where you chop like this way and then this way. And then you, whatever, you know.
Yeah, none of that's practical when, you know, someone throwing a 1-2 or, you know, running straight
someone double legs you or something.
Yeah, exactly.